Energy decision intelligence we see as a convergence of world-class fundamental modeling that Plexos is already famous for and trusted by our customers in over 90 countries. So it's a convergence of the fundamental modeling with AI, and an AI that is purpose-built for the energy sector that really understands the intricacies of energy models worldwide. So this is not just finding answers to questions, but doing it in real time at the pace of the business that needs to move today. The energy industry has always been evolving. There's always been change year over year. But what's happened now in the last couple of years is we have a convergence of multiple factors. One is renewables hitting certain peaks in terms of penetration, as well as significant changes in the demand expectations for energy, particularly driven by AI. And you have the variability of supply, as well as the uncertainty of demand and the growth in demand. And so as a result, utilities, system operators, and pretty much anyone in the energy business, they are struggling to understand what this means to the future. There are so many different ways that this can play out, and it is happening at such a pace. So we have companies continuing to spend billions of dollars on energy procurement and solutions, and that has increased significantly in the last couple of years, right? So you have that significant increase in capital expenditure, and also you have the impact of the planning spend on the actual operations. This is in the short term, whether it's on the maintenance side or budgeting or outage management, as well as in the real-time operations and the trading, whether it is to optimize a portfolio in the short term or dispatch. So you have all these decisions that are being made, and the complexity of the entire grid has increased significantly. And so all of these decisions are impacted. So you cannot continue to do them the same way anymore. And so this is driving a transformative change to say we need a new decision framework. We need a new modeling framework that is really able to scale to this breadth of the problem, and also the pace of what I need decisions to be made at. So these decisions are being made today, but the pace of the decisions are not able to keep up. So the question is, if I have 10 billion and tomorrow I have 100 billion in capital expenditure, what does it mean to the team that is working on policy or resource planning? And that's the challenge that we have. Essentially, I think what we can do is take a quick snapshot of what a decision-making workflow looks like, right? So there's data and data preparation that really informs what kind of scenarios or what is this new scenario that needs to be investigated. And so those typically are then transformed into what is an energy model, and this is typically where Plexos is used and strength. And so based on the model that's created, they run multiple simulations to really get the output behavior of the system. And finally, against that output, there's rigorous analysis that is applied, and finally reports that are created and presented to upper management. Now, all of these processes or steps take weeks or months typically. And so when there is a senior executive asking to run a new scenario, let's say, for example, the oil shock from the Middle East impacts, then to work through these steps requires so much time that the executives cannot wait for the analyst teams to complete the analysis. And so those decisions do need to be made in real time. And so today, organizations are operating in a suboptimal manner because these analyst teams are unable to keep up. And that's really what we're targeting as improvements that we can provide. So imagine that we have more of a business, and these are billions of dollars worth, and these decisions are significantly impactful. These decisions that are being made suboptimally today can be optimized, and that's the promise of what energy decision intelligence is about. So I think what we have to start with is a reference model of the grid of concern, right? Based on where this business is located and where they operate. And so rather than having that grid representation in each department, which is different, updated at different cadences, and having different assumptions and so on. What we're talking about is a common representation of the grid itself and the assumptions that are most impactful to the business, whether they're policy decisions or operating decisions. All of this expressed in a common framework that is accessible by anyone, so they understand the impacts of all these assumptions. So that is one. And then against that model, what you have is a constant stream of data inputs, and this reflects real world changes, whether it is oil prices that we talked about or demand that is constantly changing. So, or let's say congestion on transmission. So all of these changes that are streaming in against this model, and then all these different departments are now able to understand the impact to what they normally do out of this common framework. That is going to drive a level of consistency across the organization that is going to make this decision making optimal. I think there's two main goals that we have. One is the speed of decision making. The analytics move at the speed of the business in terms of decision making. There are decisions that can't wait, but analyst teams are not able to cope up with that pace of decision making. So we're trying to match analytic speed with the speed of the business. So that is one aspect. The second is also being well informed by the analytics process itself. What that means is that the decision makers have a sound understanding of the sensitivities of the energy ecosystem to the different input variables that are potentially changing. So they understand where there may be high sensitivities to, let's say price or capital investment, and where there may not be those sensitivities, where there's solid ground. And so being able to understand those sensitivities means that you can make investments with more managed risk that produce reliable outcomes for the business. So Plexos has always been the foundation of how we've empowered transformative energy decision making. So what AI is bringing to the table is a significant acceleration of this transformation for both the organizations as well as the actual analysts that are in charge of supporting this transformation.